what you been eating? She got the milk duds, fine vines, itching for breathing. Naturally sweet, not a drop of synthetic. Dig into the spread and eat until I'm diabetic. She's copacetic, always chilling, never lazy, just ecstatic, energetic with a little bit crazy. She works it up and though she doesn't keep track, whatever, everything left over goes up top and in the back. And when you wanna pop the question, don't be bringing a rock. Get down on your knees, son, and show her that ring pop. She's sucking on it and she ain't gonna stop. You know you gave her cherry flavor, now that cherry's getting popped. Eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. Alright, so this song was written by my dick. So if it sucks, don't be too hard on him. Don't ride him too much. Yeah, stop and give me something for my blood sugar drop. Man, the candy shop's closed and my heart's gonna stop. My stomach's gone numb, it's got me weak in the knees. I need to snack up to get back up, but I'm easy to please. And then she struts on by with that look in her eye. My hunger gets me so hard that I'm ready to cry. My sweet tooth's aching as I pass her pristine hourglass full of sugar called the Calorie Queen. She's got a wide selection, carries every flavor. Yo, we could do this now, but we could also do it later. She takes one last bite, looks at the crumbs on her chest, and with the wing she asks if I want the rest. Eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's got the whole package in the front, mad sackage, got that shipment in the back, and I can't wait to unpack it. Need a snack, gonna grab one off the rack. She's always fully stocked, this honey ain't one to slack. The other girls say, oh my gosh, she really loves that Fugazi, man. Fuck these basic bitches, they can't handle the Dagashi. All choking, getting sick off sugar stick that thick. But the candy queen, she takes it down with the lick of her lips. Don't be lying, guys, she's got you mesmerized from looking in her eyes, the way you look at her thighs. Dara's hot and she likes candy, that's really all I'm trying to communicate here. Eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's calculating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're chosen, homie, getting like us, everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. Oh, right, sweet stuff, calorie power will purpose. And when she swerves on by, all your wife is getting nervous. Hiding my heart within a secret compartment stand. The number of fingers you want to stick inside his armpits. Want some comfort food, what you been eating? She got the milk duds, fine vines, itching for breathing. Naturally sweet, not a drop of synthetic. Dig into the spread and eat until I'm diabetic. She's copacetic, always chilling, never lazy, just ecstatic, energetic with a little bit crazy. She works it up and though she doesn't keep track, whatever, everything left over goes up top and in the back. And when you wanna pop the question.
Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. I hope you are ready for a bit of leatherworking today. If so, you're in the right place to be. Today we are going to be doing some making of some pup hoods. You've seen me make these on stream before, but I do need to churn out some work today, so you guys are going to get to be my company while I do that. I have things set up. These pup hoods are a little different than my usual ones. These ones were hand dyed, so they don't have quite the same finish, but the process is mostly going to be the same. what we're gonna do is I have all of the templates here. I have all my cut pieces. We're gonna punch all of the holes. We're going to do some stitching. We're gonna do, we're gonna pretty much do these, get as far as we can, start to finish, and go from there. I have the stuff to stitch with. I have, I have all of the things that I need to churn out some product, which I'm going to need to do today. As usual, we are going to also probably listen to some music while we are doing that. We are going to talk a lot, because I talk a lot. And we are open to whatever conversational topics you want. You can ask me whatever you want. You can ask me about my leather work. You can ask me what's going on in my life. You can ask for advice. You can do all that kind of fun stuff. But today, what we're really going for is to get as much stuff knocked out as we can, as much as we can. Since the last time you saw me do anything on stream, I have gotten a new workbench. I have rearranged things. My workbench is a little bit thinner, but also a little bit longer. It's a little bit handier, and the camera is also in a new location. So we'll do what we can with that, and you guys can let me know if things still look good, if things are working out, all that fun stuff. So this is all going to be kind of resetting what is a little bit new to me, but we shall just proceed and get things moving. We are going to put on some music. YouTube, if you are listening on YouTube, you will not, of course, get music because we don't like the whole copyright DMCA thing. We are going to generally keep it a little bit low. I'm going to turn that down and sure. You all have to tell me how it sounds compared to my voice and what I'm doing on stream. Hopefully I did this right this time and I will not get muted on Twitch, but we'll know. We don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. For now though, let us get started. Alright. I have a lot of junk. I have a lot of scrap leather around. Yeah, you're hearing me be a fat fur, doing fat fur things. Also, hello, hi chat. All right, let us get rolling. We're gonna start by marking and punching all of the holes on all of the pieces. That should hopefully not take too long. To save my wrist, I'm very likely going to... where did I put that? Yeah, to save my wrist, I will mark all of the holes, and then I will punch all of the holes, and I will... Hey, Raven! How are you today? Meow meow. Meow meow meow. We're going to, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark all of each of these pieces and then punch the holes for each set and go from there. Let me know if you guys can, to make sure if everything looks good, you can see everything that's going on, all that fun stuff. As I was saying, the leather is a little bit different this time. And that is because this time I used what's called a veg tan leather. Veg tan leather is more like the raw leather you can sometimes see in a lot of places. It usually comes undyed. It's in the title. It's in the title. It should be in the title anyway. What I'm making should be right there in the title. I hope it is. Yeah. It's okay. It's a Sunday. It's one of those days. I understand that. At the last show I did, which was a pretty big show near where I live, near-ish where I live, I sold out all of my pup hoods. So I need to churn out a few in various colors. I pretty much always use black as my base color, but I usually go for two tones, black and something else. Yeah, how is that vocation going? I notice you have not been streaming. Raven has been... We have been missing your streams there, Raven. Also, yeah, as I was saying a little bit earlier, let me know how the sound volume and everything is against my voice. Do I sound good? Do the volume levels sound good? All that stuff. Yes, dude. I hope your vacation's going well, though. Okay, good. Alright. I will say that it's interesting to look at vacation cultures because, as you know, in the United States, we're kind of economically fucked. So, like, you know, you look at the US, and for most people in the US, a vacation is like, oh, I have an extra day or two off. And then you look at most other countries in the world, and they say, and they're like, oh, I'm going on vacation. You won't see me for the next 2 weeks. Like, don't contact me. Don't reach out. I am not findable for the next 2 weeks. And, like, if you do that in American culture, your boss is not going to be happy with you. Yeah, right now especially the US has got some real problems going on. Especially for anyone who has any kind of empathy or, you know, wants good things for their fellow people. It's a little bit of a It's very, very disheartening. It's very disappointing. Especially for someone who's like me, who's a little bit more on the liberal political, who's a bit more on the liberal political side of the spectrum. Very cool. Was it a bigger town or a smaller town? You see, I was born in New York. My family is from New York. I am, we moved out to where I am now relatively easily. Relatively early in my life. But yeah. I'd be interested to see what your scale of small but not super small town is. Because, of course, yep, that's the right place. Because obviously, that's gonna be different from culture to culture. But yeah, so my family is from New York. They were, a couple generations immigrants before I was born. And I did end up being born in a major hospital in New York. Although that's not where my family was from. Okay, that's a pretty small town. That's a pretty small town. I was more thinking population, but that's not exactly a huge town there. Musically, I'm in a kind of a mellow mood today. That's why I went with the choice that I made. What I'm doing here is, as I said, I'm kind of punching all of the holes that I need for all of the pieces. And I just remembered I need to mark the holes for the stitching on these as well. So let me grab my stitch marker. I'm not expecting to get these pup hoods done during stream today. 33,000? Okay, that's reasonably sized for a like small area, good sized population. I can appreciate that. Right now I'm just marking those. I'll be punching out the hole, or drilling out the holes a little bit after I've done punching all the other holes. I'm generally don't hammer all the way through with the chisel on these. It's just more work than is strictly needed for what we're doing. When I can just drill, take my little Dremel and mark the drill holes another way. So what are you up to today, Raven? Are you at your friend's place now? Is that what you were saying? Which is pretty cool. I will say one thing that's nice about leather is that it's pretty forgiving when it comes to like small misalignments in the pattern. There's usually enough flex in there that if you need to, you can just shift things around. But then again, what I'm doing doesn't require nearly as much precision as what other leatherworking requires, like, say, shoemaking. Shoemaking requires very much precision because you're going to predefined sizes. Yeah, I bet. I have significantly more flexibility in what I am doing. A lot of, as you know, a lot of this leather work is Herald. This will be a good check to see whether Herald works with my new setup. Whether my camera is high enough. Hello, Harold. Oh yeah, that actually... So I think the camera actually ends up being a bit higher and has a little bit more open space. So yeah. Hello, Harold. Headbats for Harold in substitution for Raven. I hope you're having a good vacation, Raven. Harold wishes you having a good vacation too. Yes, good Harold, proper Harold, good Harold. I hope you're having a good vacation. Head pats for Raven for taking the time to take a good vacation. I hope it is going well. I hope you're relaxing. I hope you are recovering. Harold. Yeah. I also hope you are putting some thought into what you are going to be doing next for your education or career. You know, a little bit of thought. Just a little. Doesn't have to be a ton. Oh? Was that a good... I mean... That seems that seems like quite a direction change from looking into doing orthopedics. And that kind of thing. But if you're also just looking for a paycheck... Nothing wrong with just looking for a paycheck. You know, as I've lamented several times, I am job hunting as well, or I will be job hunting after the money-making season is over. And I'm at the stage now where a lot of what I'm doing is just like, okay, what can I do that'll get me a paycheck? It's not nearly as fun, but it is effective, and sometimes you just need to do it. Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely a good reason to do something like that. You know, my, kind of forgot what I was going to say. Whoops. I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about jobs and job searching and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, I am, yeah, trying to figure out what I can do with my experience in education. And unfortunately, the answers that have been popping up have not been incredibly helpful. Because there have not been a lot of answers that have been popping up. So I'm kind of Not next weekend, Raven, but the weekend after that. And it is a 2-day show, and it is probably my second largest show of the season. It's my biggest Pride event. That's on July 19th and 20th. For those curious, I will be at Portland Pride. You can find me under under the Rack Leather booth. So if you want to say hi and you're in the area and you want to check out my stuff, you can do that. But it is a really pretty major 2-day event. So I'm probably going to be stocking up. I'll probably be doing more stocking up next weekend. I pretty much have to. I have a list of restock to do. And I'm kind of churning through it. It's not bad. Some of it's a little bit more difficult than others, but it's still, it's not horrible. But I want to do more than just restock. I want to also get some new stuff done for that event as well. Because it's always good to have some new stuff to show off whenever you are at an event you've been to multiple times before. And that's the thing is I've done this show for a few years now, so I need to start sort of showing up more of what I can do. And I need to show off fancier stuff, and I need to make, or just do different things, really. So people who have been in my booth before have a reason to come back in and maybe spend a little bit more money, right? That is one of those things that, sure, I absolutely would be good doing something next weekend. I absolutely should be free. Are you going to be doing... Did you get your Beat Saber working, by the way? Did you... Yeah, because... Did you get your Beat Saber done? Fixed? And if so, are you going to be... doing Beat Saber with Cotton on Monday? Oh my God. Getting home on next Thursday. Okay, so you're not going to be... So you're not going to be streaming tomorrow, then? You won't be... You got nothing going on tomorrow? Is that correct? What I got. Religion. Alright. Alright. Cool, cool. Alright, so just so you can see, these are the three colors I picked for the contrast colors on my little, on my pup hoods. These are, again, I hand dyed these. Yep, I did a pink, and I think this rose pink is a little bit better than the pink on the solid pink I get on the, that I get on the, I think this pink is, I like this pink a little bit better than the pink I get on my solid pink leather. However, if I were to hand dye everything to be this color, that would be, shall we say, problematic. It would just be so much more work to hand dye everything. Hand dye and condition everything. So I kind of don't want to deal with that. But I'm very happy to use this pink when I am doing something where I can do some dye work. But yeah, there are, well, also, so in order to dye this stuff properly, you have to use veg tan. Veg tan leather is very nice to work with for dyeing and that kind of thing, for like coloring, getting your colors set and things like that. But it has the problem that most veg tan is very, very stiff and very, very harsh against the body. Whereas the pre-done Latigo that I buy is kind of a lot nicer in that regard. So it would just be kind of, it would be very uncomfortable, or I'd have to like really work the leather to get it soft enough to be really good collar leather or stuff like that. Let me finish these three pieces, and then I will happily do both of those things. So I will do the stretch and the hydrate as soon as I have punched all the holes and marked all of these three pieces. I'm also speaking of though, I'm trying to get into a little bit better of a habit. Like, I still buy water bottles, but I've also picked up a reusable water bottle. So I'm trying to use that a little bit more, and filtering my water into a pitcher, so it's not, so I'm not using as many bottles. Also, I find that when I use the sort of the water bottle type that lets me sort of sip from it, like with a straw kind of thing, I drink more water than when I drink from water bottles. It just seems to be handier to me. Hello, Mew. How are you today, Mew? I hope you're having a good one. I hope your weekend is going good. I hope if you celebrated the July 4th, I hope that if you celebrate July 4th, you had fun with it. I did not. To be frank, I basically ignored the 4th of July holiday this year. For various reasons. Alright, let me... you're Canadian. Oh, okay. Well, you know, easy decision then. Oh, get that stretch in. Oh. In which case, Mew, how was Canada Day for you? Did you do anything interesting for Canada Day? Nice cold water. Feel the fear of... Yeah, I'm pretty much not happy with my government right now, so... Well, okay, so multiple things. A, I'm not very happy with my government right now. B, okay, Raven. I'm not very happy with my government, but also I just kind of forgot about the existence of it. To be blunt, July 4th in the States is very much kind of a family and friends kind of thing. And honestly, most of my friends are online. And I don't really go see my family. And I'm pretty unhappy with our government right now. So there was just kind of nothing for me to celebrate on July 4th. But also, I just kind of forgot that it was a holiday. In fact, I woke up on Friday, July 4th, and went, hey, I can get some errands done today. I have some orders to mail off. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, I can't mail off those orders yet. Because it's a holiday. Oh, right, it's a holiday. I should just hold off on my errands until the next day. I suppose I will just get some work done. So I just got some work done. Because I am self-employed. And what does that mean? That means both every day is a holiday and no day is a holiday. It's kind of what being self-employed comes down to. You can kind of take it easy any given day, but you gotta work all the time. All right. Yeah. Yep. Right, I remember that. You are an old bunny. Old bunny, but we love you anyway. I mean, as long as you're as young in your brain and you have VRC so you can be young online, what does the rest matter? You know? I mean, you're kind of like me, Mew. Like, all I really wanted to experience before my lifetime is I want full immersion VR. Like, just give me full immersion VR. That's all I want. Like, we're getting better at it, but we're not there yet. And people are like, well, would you ever want that stuff tied into your brain? It's like, yes! Absolutely! If it would let me experience VR, full sensory VR, absolutely. Give me that. You know. Hell, you could even do the whole if you die in VR, you die in real life thing. I wouldn't care. Like, just give me the VR. Give me the full experience. Well, I mean, you can say that, Mew, but there are certain technological challenges that have to be overcome first. Let's be real there. You know, there are definitely some... Oh, when I finally spend time in VRC, or... I mean, I definitely... So, So I need to work with Lori on the trackers. I do need to do that. And I actually should do some testing to see if the trackers that I have, the problems I'm having, are just Beat Saber related or whether they are beyond that. So I should do some testing in that regard. Because I do have the trackers now, which means, you know, I could theoretically do the VRC thing whenever I wanted. And do the full body tracking. But that isn't full immersion. You know? Full immersion is the, oh hey, you know, full sensory inputs, full body motion, you know, full body tracking, the whole bit. Full sensory inputs. Okay. Alright. Let's clean up some of these hole punched bits and pieces. Preferably in a way that won't make me have to vacuum them all up again later. Alright. So next is we have to mark our stitch lines. So for that I will need those. Alright. And I'm going to keep count because I want to make sure I get the same number of holes on each piece. So it's 4, 4, 7, 7, 10, 10, 13, 13, 16, 16, 19, 19, and 21. Looks like 21 is the magic number. Oh, no. I have, that's what I mean. Lori sent me, so I have a bunch of slime trackers that Lori sent me. But they were having problems in Beat Saber, and they weren't tracking me properly. And we haven't figured out whether it's, we haven't figured out whether it's 10. We haven't figured out if it's because something about the Nalaluna. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something about Nalaluna doesn't like to track them, or something like that. 13. 13. 16. 16. 19. 19. 1. 1. And if it's something I need to adjust in Nalaluna, or whether I maybe need to switch over to using Live. So I should probably try strapping them on and testing them in like VRC or some other some other environment where I can test different circumstances, I suppose. Four, 7, 7, 10, 10, 13, 13, 16, 16, 19, 19, 21, 21. It's really actually not hard if you have Nagaluna Avatar, but you do need to convert your avatar to VRC. Mew. So 4, 4, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 14, 14, 17, 17, 20, 20, and 1. Beautiful. Four, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 14, 14, 17, 17, 20. This ended up a little bit longer. 21. 21. That's okay. It happens. Oops. 4. 4. 7. 7. 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 14, 14, 17, 17, 20, 20, and 1. Cool. All right. Next, I need my Dremel. This is your heart. Vincent. Yay, Dremel. Alright, so now we're going to drill out the holes because I really don't like hand punching all of the holes. They tend to be a lot less regular. I'm just not as good at them. Yeah, so it's easier to just do it with a Dremel. Let me make sure of my sizing. Yep, that'll work. I'm also going to grab a drill pad because I do not want to drill into my table. It is a new table after all, and that would be a shame. So I'm just going to put this pad underneath it of scrap leather that I can't use anymore, and I'll just drill through that. This your you get to see the smoke. If I was doing this regularly, I should really have like good ventilation, like better ventilation, like a ventilation hood, and even potentially a respirator, because unfortunately the fumes from this can potentially be toxic. However, I do not do this very often. Yep. And you know what? We're all going to die from something eventually, so sure, whatever. It's all about percentages, right? Oh, sorry. Let me emphasize a little bit. I was just commenting that ideally I would have a respirator on or have a ventilation hood over my work area when doing this part because the smoke can be harmful. But I don't have a workspace like that. So I also don't do this enough for me to consider it enough a huge concern. Like, if I was doing this, for every project I did, I would absolutely have more safety precautions in place for ventilation. But for now, it's just kind of what it is, and I go with it. Because some of the materials that are used in tanning, finishing, and dyeing leather are not the greatest when you burn them. So that smoke I'm creating is not the best for my long-term health. But we're almost done, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much today. My best bet is to just get it done quickly. And get it out of the way. So let's do that, shall we? Alright, that is all of the drilling we had to do. Let me dispose of all this particle crap. Also, hopefully not catch me. Sorry, caught the cables. Caught my speaker, my headphone cable in my leg, with my leg. I got all tangled. Did not like that. Meow. Alright. Now the quote-unquote fun stuff, which is the stitching. This is honestly the most time-consuming part. Oh! Nope, not done. Not done with the drilling yet. Forgot that these each have 6 little divots I gotta drill out. Right. Now done with the drilling portion of things. For now. Alright. I do need to do a little prep work before I stitch these together, which is I need to so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these ends, fold them over, and then rivet them to there to create a nose. And then I take this piece and rivet it to that to create the base of the muzzle. So I'm going to do that. Unfortunately, my rivet machine does not fit well onto the area of my working area. So I'm going to do that off screen. It will just take me a moment. Oh, I'm making pup hoods. Mew. It's in the title. I am doing pup hoods. I was at a show last weekend that was fairly sizable, and I sold out of all of mine. So I have to sort of churn them out to replace them. I need to restock because that's okay. Yeah, so I have to kind of churn them out now because I'm doing another pretty big event in a couple weeks. Actually, it's not a pretty big event, it's a very big event in a couple weeks. And I have little doubt that these will be quite popular there. So I want to get these done. I might also want to get another one of my another cat mask done. Did you ever see the finished cat mask, Mew? The finished and painted cat mask? Let me show you. So there is my finished and painted cat mask. I think it turned out very well. Yeah. I might want to make one more of those. They are very, very stitching intensive, so I'm not sure if I will get to it. We'll see how I do with the other things I have to get done. As I said, I would like to, but I don't know if I will. I'm certainly going to try. Because I suspect they would be... actually, I have an okay pattern for a bunny mask, but... there is a pattern that... I can definitely find one. Like, that's one of those patterns that there's enough out there... that I could probably put together a bunny. The difficulty is finding a pattern that will actually fit fully over the face. Actually, more than you'd expect, Mew. Like, bunnies are reasonably popular. Like, not as popular as you know, pups and wolves and foxes and all that, and sort of the usuals. But they're you know, they show up reasonably often. The difficulty is finding a good pattern that kind of goes fully over the face. Because I've seen a lot that kind of go over the top of the face and the nose, but leave the bottom, the mouth and the jaw open. And I don't really like those. Like, I'm definitely of the, if you're gonna, you know... Yeah. It's one of the reasons why it took me so long to find a good cat pattern as well, because... You know, the typical cat patterns are like your costuming cat patterns, where it's just like, oh, it's a little mask with some ears on it. And it's just like, I don't want just a cat... I don't want just cat ears with a little fucking forehead cover. I wanted proper cat mask. So it's one of the reasons why it took me so long to find a pattern that I was... Most of them are ears up Mew, but I'm pretty confident that I could do lope ears. I could do floppy ears. I'm pretty confident in that regard. I could probably do floppy ears. So... I mean, I can certainly do, like, the ear... So what I'm doing for these pup hoods are, you know, sort of typical up ears, but I have done, like, flop ears for pup hoods as well. So I'm fairly confident that I could do... that I could do flop ears for a bunny. Okay, on to the oh-so-fun part, which is the stitching part. Honestly, to me, this is the most annoying part of this whole process. But to get the curve you're looking for and to get it to look good, it's kind of needed, so... You do what needs must. No problem, Mew. It's kind of one of those things that I've been wanting to get around to doing. Bunny, sort of a bunny hood kind of situation. Or, come here, you. But, I just kind of haven't. And that's on me more than anything. Like, I'm pretty sure I even have a halfway decent bunny hood pattern. That I just haven't really done as much as I could with. So maybe that's something I should do for this upcoming event, is maybe I should instead focus on maybe doing something like that. Well, after I get my list of restocks and stuff done, of course, because that definitely has to go first. Because the restock stuff is the stuff that is that are proven sellers. So, those absolutely have to go before anything else. Which is why I'm doing these, because pup hoods are proven sellers. So, kind of... whoops. Kind of got to do them. No excuse not to. And that often means doing them in this situation, where I have the opportunity to chat with all of y'all while I do them. Because you have no idea how much you help keep me on task. Which I really appreciate, is having that sort of accountability check. Alright, time to get into the single stitches, because we're into the curve. So I very much appreciate all of y'all in many ways. Yeah, this is quote unquote fun, but the end result is it looks really good. And what it's doing is it's basically forcing the leather to conform to the shape of the pattern. So, like, you could potentially do this and do it a little simpler by doing some water molding beforehand, which would be like getting the leather wet and shaping it with water before I started stitching it. But this sort of prevents the need for that because the stitching will just hold it nice and tight. It just is a bit of a pain in the butt for manual stitching. You know? Kind of is what it is, and you just deal with it. It's part of the joy of leatherworking. The part that kind of annoys me the most is often I find it very difficult to get my stitches even. And that's honestly more annoying than anything else. And by even, I mean either even length or even tension. So sometimes I will have and now that we're past the curve, I can go back to my traditional 2-stitch pass style, which means I can do basically two holes at a time, sort of, maybe. Oop. But yeah, this is the oh so fun part that you guys get to watch me do. If you want to. I would not blame you for not sticking around if you didn't want to. But I appreciate it when you do. Now, admittedly, I'm also a lot better at this than I used to be. This used to take me so much longer than it does now. Yeah. Eat food. Get food. Food is good. Food is good. I had food before I started stream today, so yes, get the food. I made sure to eat the food before the stream. Because I do not want to have to break in the middle. Brr. And then I backstitch one stitch to make sure this is going to hold securely. There we go. All right, that's one side of that one done. Only, you know, another side of this one and two more to go, right? One. And I usually end with a surgeon's knot. A surgeon's knot is a square knot with an extra twist in it. For those who need me to explain knots, I can do that another time. So I have tried doing this from the other side before, and it ends up being, I don't know, about the same difficulty. Like, I don't know if one way is better or not. Let me grab some water here. Water. Whee! More thread. I did end up buying a thinner waxed thread than the last type of thread I used for this. I'm moving away from the sinew. I like the sinew, but it's very finicky. And it tends to it has a tendency to fall apart during the stitching, which means I have to rethread the needles a couple of times on any given stitching project, which can be obviously very, very, very annoying. And I don't want that to happen, so... Oh, hello, Mr. Spider. I have a spider crawling up the wall right in front of me. He's a very small spider. But he's welcome in my house, because I like spiders. Spiders do good things for your house. As long as he doesn't, like, try to land on me, he is welcome in my house. I mean, I will admit I'm not a huge fan of spiders. Well, okay. I like them as long as they stay out of my way. We'll put it that way. We'll say that. Like, spiders are welcome in my house as long as they stay out of my way. If they get in my way, then, like, try to land on me or yeah, something like that, then I'm sorry, Mr. Spider, you have sealed your own fate. Because I don't want to deal with you potentially biting me. Oh, nope, not what I wanted to do. But yeah, I can't have Mr. Spiders nipping me. So, you know. So as much as I like spiders, if you get in my way, you get squished. Because I will admit to not having the patience to deal with that kind of thing. Like, I don't have the patience to go out, get a cup, come back in, grab the spider, spooter, capture it, and then take it outside. Do not have the patience for that. Sorry. Smacked the camera stand. Let me know if anything, if it still looks okay. Shouldn't have gone much of anywhere. I will admit my oh, good to know for next time. I should lost my train of thought. Some of the raw leather might show through. Oh, it's a little late for this. Might show a little bit along the curve there. This is where going through each individual hole like this can actually be a bit of a time saver and a lot more of a trouble saver. Because I don't have to fight to figure out to get the needle through both holes at the same time. So I can focus on getting the tension right when I pull it closed, like that. Also, please let me know if you can't see what I'm doing, or you want to see what I'm doing a little bit more, if I'm obscuring things too much. Obviously, I'm trying to get a good view of things, or leave a good view of things, while also making it easy for me to actually do the stitches. I think that's easy, but most definitely Eva. Most definitely attention is getting harder. I'd like to hold your head underwater. Yeah, I think this one's a little tighter than that one. Good to know for next time. Okay. And then we're back more towards the ones where I can put the needles through at the same time. Sort of. Sorta, kinda. Nope, not gonna fight it. If I can't go through the first time, I'm going to just go that way instead. The biggest thing I kind of learned from this is don't fight the threading. Like, if it's not going to go through, find another way. Don't fight the stitching. Don't fight the if it's not going to work one way, there's always a different way to do it. So, you know, why try and make things more difficult on yourself? Right? Come here, you. Alright, well, you don't want to go through that way, so guess we're doing it this way. And as I did last time, I'm going to backstitch this one after I tighten this down a little bit. Okay. Alrighty. See, the second side always goes a bit faster. And I'm sure I'll get faster as I get back into doing this. Do another little surgeon's knot here. Luckily, this is not a part of the mask that will actually be up against the person's face, so having a bulkier knot here is not going to be a problem. One. Okay. Yeah. And again, we're going to do a quick little heat run across this thread. There's our first muzzle. 2 more to go. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to take what I just remembered, since that unraw side can sometimes show. One of your best friends when doing this kind of thing is a simple black marker. Black marker can hide a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors, and it can also do things like extend your edging a bit, so you don't have to worry about raw leather showing. So I'm just going to do a little fill in on that side. I absolutely would not advise like trying to dye an entire project this way, but for, you know, just sort of hiding maybe getting a missed part of the leather where your dye didn't quite hit, or doing what we're doing here where we discovered that potentially some of the raw leather can show through when the stitching is happening. These things can be kind of a godsend. If you believe in God, which I don't, but you know, you understand the idea. What I'm just doing is I'm adding a little bit more black border on the inside of this leather, so that way, if the leather bends and flexes while I'm stitching it, it does not show up as, doesn't show raw easily. And they do actually make, and I really should use them, you can actually get little big bulky fill pens that you can put leather dye or other kinds of dye in. There we go. And really I should be using those, but this is what I have here handy, so, and it works. Alright, let us move on to the next one. Let's do purple this time. Yay, purple. Oh, we've been going almost 2 hours now. Nice. My goal, I suppose, would be to get all these stitched, and probably assembled to the point that I would do all the strapping, which is a separate process that I usually do on a different time, especially with what I'm doing today, because yeah, it involves a lot more measuring and fiddling and fucking around with putting them on and such. So no chair, let go of the cable. Meow. Thank you. Meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Who gets up early? On another note, I am definitely liking this thread. I've used it for another project already, and I liked it on that one too, but this is definitely suiting me a lot better and working a lot better than the sinew that I was using before. I think the sinew still has a place, but I think I just kind of like this one better. All right. On to number 2. Rotation. That first stitch nice and tight. That is always one of the challenges, getting the first couple stitches nice and tight. Once you have done that, the rest can go, it can help make the rest go a lot easier. One thing you do have to kind of avoid in doing this is you do have to watch the kind of watch the softness, I guess you'd put it, of the material, because if you pull too tightly, this thread will cut through leather, like, especially if you saw it back and forth a little bit. You know, if you accidentally saw it back and forth, or you're using a very thin leather, or you're using a very soft leather, this type of thread will very happily, like, punish you by cutting through your leather. I have done that on at least a couple of occasions, where I went to pull it nice and tight, and it just sawed right through, and it just cut right through the leather. And that was, that was not fun. That was no good. It didn't kill the project, but I did have to kind of cover up where the stitch holes cut through. So I definitely, that's something you have to watch for, especially on projects like this one, where you do have to, since you're forcing the leather into a shape, you do have to pull it pretty tight. Ow! Well, that was my first needle stick of the stream. Surprised it took this long. Honestly. Never say I don't put my blood, sweat, and tears into my project. Well, I don't know about tears, but blood and sweat, absolutely. There's at least a couple of my projects that have gone out with blood stains on them that were covered up by dye and sealant. Because little red splotches are easier to hide than you might think. Okay. Start getting this tight around there. It's actually probably ending up being faster doing it this way than I was doing it before. I was trying to change the angle I approach the needle with. Man, I will say though, this particular playlist could practically be a karaoke playlist for me, because I could sing along with everything that so far. Get these stitches nice and tight. Honestly, this stitching part is one of the reasons, the best reasons that I want that you guys being around is so helpful. Stitching is one of those things that I consider kind of a necessary evil. And so if I can do it with some kind of distraction, or, you know, some way to keep me otherwise occupied, it's like, oh, hey, this is very helpful and makes the whole thing seemingly go a lot faster. So having all of you, having something to talk with or talk at is incredibly helpful. For those who have not joined in before, I have a severe ADHD and depression, and there's a concept called doubling, which basically says that ADHD is a lot easier to manage when there's someone else around. And that's true. Like, just having someone around makes doing things a lot easier. And it doesn't have to be, like, in the room, obviously. Because you're not in the room, but this is working for me. Oh. Oh, that's how it's supposed to go. Oh. Dang it. First time the thread is broken, which is pretty good for how long we've been going. There we go, that went through cleaner that time. I'm a lot happier with how this is going. Speed-wise, just needed to find my rhythm, huh? Get over it. Hey. Yeah, I am much happier with how this is going speed-wise. I don't know how I avoided getting stabbing myself there, but I'll take it. Nope, you're not going through the way I want you to, so we're not gonna fight you. There we go. Dude. Come here, you. Okay, one for the first start of the knot, and then surgeon's knot. Fire. Fire. All right. How we doing? Pretty good. Water is good. Always remember, water is good. Okay. Second stitch length on this particular muzzle. I think I will, considering the higher position of the camera, I might try and shift over my rivet setter to a place where you can see it. We'll see how that works. When I do start riveting things again. So that way, because honestly, after the next step with all the riveting is, it would just be me off screen and you'd hear lots of ka-chunk, 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 and we kind of don't want that, because that would be not very entertaining, I would think. Maybe. Also, I don't suppose I need my wristband so much anymore, my wrist brace. Not a lot of what I'm doing now is a lot of wrist efforts. That was mostly for when I was punching a bunch of holes, which I'm not really doing right now, so why don't we push that to the side for now. I'll put it back on if I need it. Ooh, bare wrist, chat. You get some more bare wrist action. Naughty, naughty. Let's get that super tight. I'm a big fan of this purple, by the way. Like, I think it looks so good. Right, do not fight. If it does not want to go through, find the other way through. No fighty the thread. Okay, let's get that nice and tight up against the nose. Okay. Okay, come on. There we go. This is a pretty fantastic cover. But Cake is a fantastic band, so I am not surprised they would do a very good cover of this. Rule number 1, don't fight. Pull the thread through, put the thread through there, and then pull tight. Which I suppose would be another way to do this, that's for sure. Come here, you. Ah, there we go. The second side is always easier than the first because the leather obviously already is starting to move into the shape you want it to go. Being forced there by the first stitch set, but you still kind of have to force it. Force that shape. Again, I suppose if I really wanted to, I could do something like wet mold this into position, but it's kind of not worth the extra time and effort. Come on. Get nice and tight there. This sounds like this should be like a musical number. to hurry, but I am trying to hurry because I want to get through the stitching as quickly as I can so we can get to the rivet assembly portion of things, which will be a lot easier. I could see this being like part of Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss, definitely. Like it strikes me as that kind of tone. Ooh, almost done with this one, which is nice. As you can see, practice makes faster. In some styles of stitching, they'll actually make the stitch holes big enough that you can fit both needles through at the same time. The idea is you put both needles in at the same time and you sort of twist them around each other so it creates a knot in the middle of the hole. That is sometimes called saddle stitching. And I have never been able to do that with any size of leather and any kind of needle set. So, you know, honestly, it's supposed to be more secure, but I don't know about that. Okay. Ow. There's stick number 2. Poke number 2. Okay. Ooh. That one's good enough to actually get a little blood going. If I was diabetic, I would just use I would do an A1C test off of that, but nope. Or, you know, something similar. Rar. Muzzle number 2. We're making pretty good time here. Okay. I'll see if I can make better time through the pink one. Ah, come on. I was talking with a ghost. Say, please, don't exist. I was walking with a ghost. I said, please, please don't exist. No matter how much way you stay. Come here. Come here. Little frickin'. Okay. Next. Last but certainly not least. Man, I really like this shade of pink. It's so nice. It is so, so nice. Oh, well, that was dumb of me. There we go. Now they're roughly even. Okay, now stay. Stay. Or at least don't go far. Tight, 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 tight. There we go. Okay. I know, this part is oh so interesting to see. There we go. as I proceed to break my own rules about finding the easiest way through and taking it. Oh well. It's not bad. It's really, really hard to maintain stitch tensioning on the first few stitches. I still have pretty significant problems with it. So, you know, if you can't do it, don't feel bad. It is indeed a challenge. All you can kind of do is try to go with it and do your best. And then hopefully you will be able to even out the tensioning a little bit more along the way. And it will all even out in the end, I suppose, is one way to look at it. This seems appropriate. Not so much with the wine, but I appreciate the sentiment. Also not true. If you're talking about how often when you start losing cells as opposed to growing cells and decaying, that happens around 25-ish. So you know, take that information with what you will. I mean, there's kind of a reason why a lot of people in their mid-20s start going, oh, hey, things feel different now. And then they show that there are pretty significant aging effects at like 35 and 60 as well. Like your body kind of lurches forward in the aging process at 35 and 60. Which is, you know, makes a lot of sense to me, considering, or is it 40 and 60? It might be 40 and 60. I don't remember, but it's like, basically your body seems to age in fits and starts. Like, it's actually not a steady progression. It's more like you kind of hit these mile points where your body goes, oh, hey, let's shut off some functions today. And Yeah. Which is interesting, because a lot of anti-aging research is now sort of focusing in on those numbers and what happens in your body around those ages. That makes that happen. Fly. Personally, I'm just going to live forever. That's how it's going to work. I know it. Something will happen, and as a result, I will live forever and not have to worry about it. And sure, that could mean I kind of end up all alone, and kind of crazy. Honestly, I figure by that time I'll have earned being the crazy. You know? Like, you get to a certain age and you just... you earn the crazy. Sort of like, you know, after a certain point you kind of stop giving a fuck in general. After a certain point, you get to be crazy and no one gets to say shit about it. Because you have earned the crazy. I'm not there yet. I have definitely not earned the crazy yet. I've certainly earned a lot of the don't give a shit, but I have not earned the crazy yet. I'm getting there. Now, Mew has definitely earned the crazy. Mew, you get to be as crazy as you want to be, because you have earned the crazy. And you should abuse that privilege. You should abuse the crazy. Even if you're not crazy, like, you get to act like it. You get to that point where it's just like, oh yeah, they're totally nuts. And we understand why they're nuts. And they've totally earned the right to be nuts, and we just have to go along with it. Unfortunately, the problem is most of the people in our government are also of that age. You guys are fucking nuts, but you're also, like, you're old. So I don't know what we're supposed to do about it. Yes, Grandpa, we know. Tax cuts for the millionaires will end up benefiting the lower classes. Absolutely sure. Bad guy. Or is that a little too political? Not that I care if it is too political. I'm a political person. Because I'm a firm believer that... Hi there, Ruda. How are you today? You're only like 6 months older than me, man. I hope you're having a good weekend, by the way. Impaled on the fence. Okay. I'm not bad. I'm glad to be getting all this stuff done. Glad to have someone to talk to while I do it. Because otherwise, this would be driving me fucking nuts. Oh, very cool. Thank you for being here, Ruda. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can't help but think of the meme. I hope I've been mildly entertaining. I can't help but think of the meme that's like, in the real world, people in their 70s and 80s are generally considered completely unemployable, yet they are almost exclusively in control of the government. You know, like the fuck. The fuck? The fuck. Ooh, did I actually outlast my playlist? I think I did. No, there we go. With a little luck, I'll be able to get these pretty much done in the stream. Which is a big difference considering the first time I did this on stream, I think I only got one of these done in a stream. Well, okay. So they won't be done, but they'll be to the final assembly stages of done, which is a pretty big step. We'll probably get to the gluing stage for the eyebrows at the very least. And get those eyebrows... Get the eyebrows installed. Okay, where did I put the eyebrows? Ah, there they are. Not that I was expecting it to that stage, so I don't really have my glue and stuff set up, but we'll get to it. Stay together. I hope my musical choices have appealed, Ruda. But then again, I know it's low-key music, but I've been feeling pretty low-key today. Alright, what else can I talk about? So it is July, which means technically Pride Month is over, but there are still Pride events happening. In fact, the one that I'm prepping for is a delayed Pride event they decided to have near the end of July. Well, the 19th and the 20th, anyway. Third week in July? Yep. And then there's another one that I signed up for that is Pride affiliated. That is Memorial Day, which in the US is end of August. So that's a thing I have going on as well. That one's going to be pretty small. Ah, very cool, Ruda. Yeah, that reminds me. I do want to... I don't know. There's a couple... Like, as I've said before, I want to get back into mapping, but I really, like, I'm not sure I can do it because I'm shit at understanding body mechanics. Because there are definitely songs that I would love to make maps. There's a shit ton of songs I would love to make maps for that I think would be tons of fun. But I'm just not confident in my ability to do any kind of a job, much less a good job. Marijuana cigarettes? But yeah, there's definitely songs that, like, I really wish there were songs for. That I have no confidence at all in mapping myself. And I certainly can't afford to commission anyone to do them these days. Because I'm a poor motherfucker. Let me see if I can think of... So there's one that Lori Bun has been requesting forever that I've also kind of wanted to do. It's a song called Fort Knox by Goldfish. I think it would make for a fun map. Actually, quite a few of their songs would make for fun maps. They're a very jazzy kind of group. That are kind of a ton of fun there. What else? There's a couple I did with Beat Sage that are, you know, well, it's Beat Sage, so you get what you pay for. And I missed a stitch hole there. Well, I didn't miss it, I just made it short. Oh well. Okay. What else have I got? It's hard for me to remember the songs. That I would like to get done for Beat Saber. So it's kind of, you know, what do I do? Come on, let me get this done. Almost done with the stitching portion, which is the most time-consuming and annoying part of these whole builds. Okay. All of these are off by a little bit, but that's okay. Because that is one of the things about hand stitching versus machine stitching. Hand stitching is actually kind of forgiving if your stitching holes are not perfectly aligned. Like, if they're not perfectly aligned, you can still draw it in pretty tight and get a good fit. Whereas with machine stitching, if they're not perfectly aligned as you stitch, you're kind of fucked. So that's why there's a lot of patterns that kind of don't really work for machine stitching. Like this pattern in particular is really bad for machine stitching because of this, trying to get this curve to line up. Flatbed machines absolutely can't do it. Believe me, I've tried. Whereas curve machines are still going to have problems with the alignment. They might be worth it for like. They might be worth it for like putting initial stitches so you can take it the rest of the way, but for the most part, it's not gonna be great at putting them together. Come on, you're the last hole. Don't you want to go through the hole? Don't you want to go home? Answer me. Also, Daruda, I hope that my my little pattern here is making it easier for you to get to do your thing too. Because I know, again, it's kind of it helps concentration to be able to have someone else working while you're working. Okay. And I know how that can be sometimes. Come here, you. Go through the hole. There we go. Get that all tied up. It's distracting you in a good way. Good. Alright, we are done with the stitching. So I can put these back finally. Yay! Yay! Hooray! Yay! I can push those aside. We're about 3 hours in. Let's see if I can get through all of the rivet punching and stuff in the next hour. I bet I can. I can at least get through the rivet punching, probably, and also probably get the gluing of the eyebrows done within the next hour or so. And if so, I will consider that a very good stream and a very good break point. Because I'd rather let the glue... Well, no, there's other things I can do, but it'll be kind of near the end of my ability to focus. Probably. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes to rivet everything. Okay. Alrighty. What I'm doing, the reason I'm doing this part is because since this is a wax-coated strand, by doing that, it loosens up the wax just a little bit, and I can smooth down the stitch. So by doing this, it just makes it a little bit cleaner. But there is muzzle number 3. Alright, now let me see if I can fit the rivet setter in such a way that you guys can see it. Or at least see me working on it. So I'm very deliberately going to be hanging the rivet setter off the edge of the table a little bit. It will help me get some of the curves that I need to get when I set these rivets. Some of the angles I have to set these rivets at. Having it off the edge will it will help with that. Okay, so we need this piece. We need one of these pieces. And we need one of these pieces. And then we need many, many rivets. Many, many rivets. Let me take another sip of water. Yay, water. All right. One thing you'll notice in almost every leather pattern is sort of direction of layering. What that means is, see how this piece is going over the top of this piece? Every layer is like that. One layer always goes over or under another layer. And the entire pattern will tend to follow that same tendency. So since this is going, and in this pattern, since this one is going over top of this one, we know that pretty much the rest of the pattern does the same thing, and this piece is going to go over that piece. It's just a little thing, but if you notice it in your leather patterns, it'll give you some really good hints as to orders of operation. So like, knowing which pieces needs to go on next, in which order, how they need to sit on the pieces above them or below them, etc., etc. It's just a little thing that you pick up as you learn to do this. So let's do those two. And again, as I said, I kind of have to move this in such a way that I can get to certain positions on the rabbit. Okay, so now that those are in, I can sort of probably do the rest of the... I can probably at least place all of the rivets. We'll do one side at a time. This is kind of where I wish I had a mechanical riveter, which I do not, unfortunately. Those guys are pretty expensive. I do have an online shop. My online shop is rackleather.com. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to publish my... So, my online shop is... Well, I wasn't... Yeah, it's one of those things where, okay, so I'm a leather maker. Nothing I do is explicit. However, just because I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the content of my webpage, and there is nothing explicit, I am not sure how Twitch would like it, whether Twitch would like it or not. So I'm not, it's one of those things where it's like, I've been debating, I probably should include it in my about, but part of me is like, do I really want to, do I want to potentially attract that kind of attention? And the answer is I probably shouldn't worry about it. But you never know what's going to get classified as adult content these days. And it's just like, really? Because again, nothing I'm doing is explicit. But that doesn't mean they'll believe me when I say I'm not doing anything explicit. Yep. Yeah. It's, yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, what level of a risk am I willing to take on? And I'm not sure yet. Like, okay. I would absolutely love if I didn't have to think about it at all, but I do. You know? And the other thing is and so I don't know if you are aware of the blue Twitch, also known as Fansly, which I do mention. Blue Twitch, also known as Fansly. But Blue Twitch just started, recently banned furries. Anything with a bestial or animalistic appearance in any way, shape, or form, they have banned them. Yep. Like, you know, cat girls and stuff like that are still kind of okay, but furry, scalies, anything, you know, anything like that is now banned from their site. And it's not honestly because they want to ban them. It's because credit card processors have decided that they don't like furries. For some reason. Even though fucking furries spend immense amounts of money. But because the credit card processors have decided they don't like furries, now that site has to ban them, or else the credit card processors will drop them. And obviously, if they can't take credit cards, they're kind of fucked. So, you know, it definitely is pretty bullshit. No, not odd. It's bullshit. Because it too is politics. Because the U.S. has made it very obvious American government has made it very obvious which direction they're going. And the corporate overlords don't want to deal with the backlash of that. By the way, there's how it looks. We now have all three pieces put together. We're going to glue the eyebrows on, and then depending on how much time we have after that, I'll probably do the strap that goes here. I'll figure out how long it needs to be and attach it. I might do that today as well. We'll see how long that all takes. Yeah. No. There's confrontation. There's lots of confrontation. But it's corporate environment. They don't want confrontation. They want, especially when the government has proven that they're willing to exert. The government has shown that they're willing to basically bully people, bully people, not much less companies that don't do what they want. Yeah, this administration has basically said, fuck you if you don't do what I want. We're gonna make you hurt because we're, vindictive, pedantic assholes who don't care about anyone else, really. And, credit card processors are businesses, and they're always looking for the least risky way to make the most money. So, like, fuck y'all's human rights or First Amendment rights or whatever. Because we just want to make our money. Well, okay, they're a corporation. They don't have to worry about. Let's be clear. They're a company. They don't have to care about First Amendment rights, but they do. They definitely are bending the knee to come to government actors. Because it's not worth their financial time to try and... Because they're not fighting, they're just trying to make money. And corporate greed and all. Like, it's not enough to make a profit while still maintaining your... While still fighting back at least a little bit. You have to maximize profit all the time to the sacrifice of everything else. Because you have to maximize your profits, because we don't care about anything else. And yeah, you might say I'm a little ranty for reasons. Because I understand I have a lot of privilege because of who I am and my skin color and all that stuff. But from a lifestyle perspective and from a fandom perspective and things like that, I'm in a lot of targeted demographics. So, I am kinky, I am a furry, I am in the LGBTQA spectrum, I am, and so there's a lot of shit there that I have to kind of deal with. Complain when there's no rain. All I can do is point a butt. So it's very, so in many ways it's very difficult in that regard. But yes, I know I have not a lot of the other difficulties that other people have. But I do believe in supporting and providing and doing what I can. I'm not trans, but a huge amount of my community is trans, and right now they are suffering and they deserve support and help. Is this better? Is this a better sequence of rivets than it was the other way? I don't know. Maybe for all but this one. And I'm also right now very poor. So unfortunately, there's not a. I'm at that stage where I'm kind of like, okay, I would really like to do more, but I really can't do more because I am also on the back foot right now, and I have to kind of make sure that I can put food on my plate next week. Which is a thing. You know? Because, it's kind of hard to take care of others if you can't take care of yourself, right? As much as you would like to. Did I literally just put that down, or did I put the cat to this marker? There you are. Okay. Number 2. Time to move on to number 3. Well, it looks like we will have time to do some of the strapping on this before I get kind of done with the stream today. After I get the glue and stuff, of course. Man, I really love this purple. This purple is the best color. Nice. This is where having a little bit of flex in my leather is a good thing, because, if the holes don't exactly match up or don't fit 100% perfectly, you can still just manipulate things, shift things a little bit, and it'll probably go. Here's the thing. Here's a bleh. Ruda, you should get some people together and do a cake. And do a cake map pack. It would be fun. Cake has some iconic songs. Changing the topic completely. Because, yeah, I could rant all day about what's going on right now in our community and our culture. And that's probably not the most productive thing to do right now. Okay. Where are you? There you go. This is a lot of shifting and moving just to make sure the rivets will get to where they need to go. Alrighty. This is definitely easier because I can definitely flex it better. Okay, good to know for the future. Okay. Grunt, grunt, grunt. And all the little... Okay. Okay. Almost done. Well, almost done with this part. Okay. I was honestly not sure I would make it this far into the production of these today. I'm very happy I did get this far. Again, I'm going to probably glue and do maybe the strapping portion, or the top strap, head strap portion. But yeah, I'm real pleased that I got as far as I did today on this. Beautiful. Yay! Yay! Let me pull these aside. Alright. Give me a moment and I will go grab clamps, strappings, and clamps, straps, and glue. And we'll see about getting this all glued up and clamped, and hopefully, and maybe we'll do the strapping and the eyebrows. And that'll probably be a good stream length. So I'll be back very quickly. As I snag my headset and almost take it with me, because that's smart. Okay. Alright, so these here are going to be padding pieces so that I can avoid leaving as many marks on the leather as I clamp it. I was honestly not expecting to have to bring out the strap. I did not think I was going to get that far today. That is another strap that I hand dyed and sealed. Grab a couple napkins so I can wipe off my glue. Alrighty. So the first thing we're going to do at this point is we are going to scratch up where the eyebrows are going to go. So that's right. What we're doing is we're creating a little texture. I've kind of talked about this before, but we're creating a little texture so that the glue has something to catch on to and bond to. Leather is really good at holding glue, but you should still definitely do this step, especially if the glue is really going to be your primary bond. You can go so far as to sand it and just really take the finish down completely until you get to raw leather. And some people do that. And that can be worth doing if you think it's if you don't think the bond is going to hold real well. I haven't had too many problems with just using the scratch technique. But you never know. So, you know, take that as you will. Also keep in mind, no glue is forever. Well, actually it depends. Depending on how much use and how much movement your piece suffers will kind of determine how well the glue sticks. But that's very much a kind of learn as you do it kind of thing. Also keep in mind that I'm not using the edge of the blade. I'm using kind of the tip to scratch this up because my goal isn't to cut through the leather, it's just to rough up the surface. It's just to, you know, I don't want this to possibly become I don't want this to become for me to accidentally, like, this is a very sharp knife. I don't want to like draw it down and accidentally put a slit in my leather. That would be bad. We don't want that. We really don't want that. All we want, again, is to rough up the surface. So again, I am just scratching it with kind of the point in a way that will hopefully not cut it too badly. Because we just want this to hold glue for us. Now, how supple and how thick the glue, the piece of leather that you're going to be gluing makes a big difference. This pink is thicker. It's not quite as flexible. So I definitely want this to have a better bond than, say, this purple, which is a lot thinner. Why did I use the thicker leather for the pink? Well, that's because the thinner leather I have wasn't the same tone as this thicker leather, wasn't the same color. So that affects how the dye will show up. And let's see, do I have the exam? I have them around, I'm not going to dig them out. And how the dye turned out, I was not happy with on the thin leather. So I was like, well, oh well, I guess I'm doing the thick leather then. Which, you know, is totally fine. Just means I have to be a little more careful with my glue application, which we're going to do now. And we're also going to cut a couple of padding pieces off of this. That's not long enough. So we want... Yep, that's what we want. These padding pieces are just here to help prevent leaving impression lines from the clamps I'm going to use to hold the glue. Alright, let's get started. I use Fiebing's leather glue for my glue of choice. I have found it is very effective. It glues and finishes very tightly. And while it's wet, it basically acts like Elmer's. So you'll see. I mean, it literally has kind of that same flowy nature to it. So we're going to put some there, and put some in there. It has that same flowy nature, but it bonds leather to leather incredibly well. So I very much like the Fiebing's leather glue. I know a lot of people like contact cement. I do not, because contact cement has all sorts of other problems, including with either having to wait for it to get tacky after you put it on, or to use a heat gun to dry it a little bit. Plus, it's nasty smelling, and it's nasty smelling. You have to be very careful with it. You have to be very careful how it bonds, and a few other things. So I just really don't like contact cement. And I know they make like better contact cements, but it's just not something I want to fuck with, especially when there's already a leather glue that is for leather, you know? Right, so I'm gonna apply this, hold it down for a moment or two. Letting your glue get tacky, by the way, can be a very good thing. You do kind of want to smooth it out around the edges. Grab the padding parts that I put on. We're going to go dink and grab a clamp. Okay, and we're going to go. Oop, we definitely got some leakage going on here. Well, we'll deal with that in a little bit. But for now, we want to first just get these clamps in place. Okay, one more up here. That should do for now. And let's, oof, yeah, that. Let's get in there and wipe that up a bit. There is a fair bit of cleaning you can do on this after the glue is set. But it's better to get it now. Just to be sure. Okay. This one should go on cleaner because it's had a little bit more time to get tacky. But it's also, yeah, this is a very, as I said, this is a stiffer leather, so it kind of doesn't want to behave as much. We'll use that as a wiping cloth. Alright, so we're going to put down our padding and grab a clamp. Oh, that one doesn't spread wide enough. That one does. Okay, and we're going to go down there. Oh, whoops. I'm kind of dumb sometimes. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to go to this one. And that's not going to fit. The other ones are going to be a lot easier because they are thinner material that will flex easier and adhere easier. This one is the one that is giving me all of the pain in the buttocks. Okay. And then we can trim this back a little bit. Remember, that's just the padding so that the lines from the clamps have less chance of showing up. So all right, so we are clamping the eyebrows in place like this. It should be fine, but we have to let it sit now and glue for a good bunch of hours. So I'm going to put that aside for now and move on to Mr. Purple. Mr. Purple should be easier. So again, put on. You don't need a ton of glue is the thing. Like, you kind of, like, I put too much on that other one. You really just want a nice thin bonding layer. Certain glues you want a ton. This glue you kind of don't. So I did end up putting probably a little bit too much on the other one. So let's just go light. And go in through there. All right. And now you guys need to get some down here. Get all of the glue. All of the glue. These should go on a lot easier. Won't have to worry about them nearly as much. These guys will stick like champs. In reality, what I should have done is I should probably have skived the pink ones down a bit, but I hate skiving, and I don't have a proper skiving knife. So what skiving is basically taking off layers until it's the right thickness. You're grinding down thickness, basically. Here, let's make a couple more padding sections. And yes, it's fine to do this while the glue is setting because the glue gets tacky and it's a fine thing to do. Getting a little tackiness on your glue is a good thing. Okay, so that'll be our padding for that. Okay. Oh, I put those on the wrong side, didn't I? Okay, well, here we go. And already I can tell this is going to be a lot easier to bond. Both because I did put that thinner layer of glue on, and because, well, the thinner eyebrows are going to stick a little bit better. So let's start here and get our padding in place. Okay, and bring it, oop, nope. Bring this down here. And you know what I can do? I can do that. And sorry, I know I'm pulling it up off screen. I have a bad habit of pulling it close to my face, so it's a little bit, it's easier for me to see, but maybe harder for you to see, and I apologize for that. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then grab one more. And put it there. And hopefully that will hold it nice and stable where we want it to be until the glue finishes bonding. We'll wipe a little bit away from the edges there just to make sure it doesn't adhere to itself too much. And then move on to this one. Alright, and this one, since it's had even more time to get tacky, is kind of holding like a champ. Not to say I'm not going to still put clamps on it, but as you can see, just a little bit of manipulation, and it's doing pretty freaking good. Dink. Alright, and number 2. There we go. Nope, you were not where I needed you to be. You were not in the right place. Clamp. You are too small. As in, you don't spread wide enough. Nope, nope, no, no. Stay there. Stay there. There we go. And one more along the top. Okay. And that's number 2 down, with the eyebrows getting glued. And last, but certainly not least, yeah, this guy. Here you can see a little bit more of what the color mismatch did. You can see it's not exactly the same color. It's a little bit duller, but I still like it. So I'm gonna keep it on this pair. It should be okay. It's a little mismatched, but not enough for me to be worried about it. Cut another padding section. This may not be long enough. That's why this is scrap leather, so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. Alrighty, that's one side. Nope, you do not escape. Glue, you do not get to dribble out of my fingers. Alright, it's good to have a wiping piece, so to speak. Okay. Alright. I've actually found that green has become a really pretty popular color. It tends to sell in the colors that I do. I've seen it pop up a lot on a lot of people's stuff. I don't know why green is such a... I mean, I don't know the theory or why green has decided to become such a popular color, but it just has. So you do what you can with it. And hey, if everyone likes green, I have no problems doing green. Don't worry about it, Dorota. I was just meandering. No worries. Just letting the whole, just letting the span fill out. What I was saying was a Cake map pack, like the band Cake, would be kind of cool because Cake has a lot of iconic songs. The other thing I was saying, and I don't know if you heard that part, was that there are a lot of songs I would really love to map, but I'm just not at all confident in my ability to do them. Now, the other reason Cake would be kind of... I think Cake would also be a kind of a good map pack because it's a lot mellower than a lot of the bands that get map packs. And there is something to be said for a nice mellow, you know, like a good mellow map. Like a good, just well-mapped, mellowish map can be so fun and kind of refreshing. I think maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a little odd that regard, but I like them. I like them a lot. I tend to like them a lot. I think Cake would be good for ACK maps. I think Cake would be good for Poodle maps. I'm pretty sure they don't have anything that would be speed, so tech, you could definitely do a tech, something techy with Cake. But yeah, like so I have, what I was saying about my mapping is that I have a real problem with body mechanics in that I don't understand them. So like, so when I tried mapping, the first time I tried mapping, I was basically, well, first of all, I hadn't played Beat Saber, so I will admit that. I was doing it based strictly, so I read guides, but I was mostly doing it strictly on angles and mathematics. Because I understand angles and mathematics. Which I think is a lot of the mistake that people make when making Beat Saber maps, is they think it's just angles and mathematics and it's body mechanics, and that's two different things. It's two very different things. Okay, so that's not really where I need it to be. I need it to be clamped more there, so it's not peeling up at all. Okay. Which means this one probably needs to do the same. And I actually think that's what you see, like, in the early days of Beat Saber mapping, was that people didn't understand body mechanics. So early Beat Saber mapping was all done on angles and mathematics, which means they were technically correct, they just didn't compensate for body mechanics and sucked. Okay. Whew. I think we're pretty much done for today. I thought I was going to get to the part where I cut the straps. Didn't quite get there, but I certainly got as far as I really wanted to get today, which is getting everything stitched and assembled, and I got the glue done. Which makes me very happy to have gotten that done today. Here we see, I can show you the 3 pieces that we have glued down and ready to go. So they are getting padded because we don't want the things to get warped, but we have 3 good pup heads mostly done today. But at we're almost 4 hours in. I think that is going to be a good place to stop for today. Which means it is time. Let me see if there's someone that we can raid into. Let's see who's around we can raid into. Let's raid into CarTube. CarTube is a friend of mine. They do classic and vintage video games. They are currently playing Bard's Tale 4. So let's just call it. Let's just hit them up, shall we? They're good friends of mine. You can say it's a professor raid or a cat professor raid or anything like that. But I will be back on Tuesday, and until I see you again, y'all have a good afternoon. Bye bye.